All right, I know we're tired of inverse, I get it, but solving equations by hand, it gets a little confusing, so we're going to go over the examples again. So inverse, Jordan, what does inverse mean? The opposite. The opposite. And then Brian, what do we want to do with the x and the y?
You want to change them.
All right, good job. Switch x and y. The most important thing about inverse is this line right here when we're graphing. Remember, when we graph, that's our mirror. That's our mirror. We want to reflect over that, all right? And that's the equation for that line. We've already gone through table points, x and y value. We don't need to do those again, but remember when we're solving for something, we always want to go backwards. All right, always go backwards. Brian, what's the opposite of subtract?
Add.
Very good. Jordan, what's the opposite of multiply? Very good. Divide. And then these other two, square root. What's the opposite of square root, Brian? Do you remember?
No.
All right, Jordan, do you remember? What's the opposite of square root?
Bad guess, but absolute value.
There are no bad guesses, but that's not right. It's okay. It's been a 4-day weekend. I forgot to. It's going to be x squared. Squared. All right. So the opposite of square root is that little bitty 2. Remember, if you have a square root like this and you have an x, if you throw parentheses around and do a square like that, it gets rid of it all, and you just have x left. Okay? Those are opposites. We'll keep working on it. So find the inverse of the function. Our important word is inverse. And like Brian said earlier, we're going to switch our x and our y value. But we don't have a y here. Jordan, where am I putting the y? What represents y here? Yeah, very good. So we have y equals 4x plus 7. And then we're going to flip-flop the x and the y. Okay, we're going to have x equals 4y plus 7. And we're going to solve for the y value. And I want to get that 4y by itself. So how do I get rid of that positive 7, Brian?
Ma'am?
How do you get rid of the positive 7?
Subtract.
Very good.
7.
Like that?
Yeah, both of them. Both sides, I guess.
Very good, very good. See, I was trying to trick you. You got it. So this goes to 0. Then you have x minus 7 equals 4y. So then I have 4 times y. Jordan, how do I get that y by itself? Very good. Divide y on both sides. Very good. So this goes to 1, so it kind of disappears. We have x minus 7 over 4 equals y. And that's going to be one of my final answers. So remember when we get fractions, this is the most like convoluted part, the most kind of confusing part, because you have y equals x minus 7 over 4. That could be an answer. That's good. Or what could we do this fraction? Jordan, do you remember? Not flip it. That's when we're doing transformations. But what we can do is we can separate it. All right. So we can separate it. So we have y equals, our first fraction is going to be x divided by 4. And then what's our second fraction, Brian? Brian?
7, 4.
All right, 7 over 4. Very good. And see this little negative sign? It's got to stick with the fraction. So it's going to be negative 7 over 4. So what I'm saying is this right here can be an answer, or this right here can be an answer. So you have to be able to make sure that you can you can separate the fraction because you have two answers, all right? And they're both correct. They both mean the same thing. Sound good? Yes, Miss Fisher. Sounds great. Awesome. All right, so we have if f of x equals square root x minus 5, what is f negative 1? F negative 1. Brian, what does that mean?
Square root.
Not square root. This is my bad. I should have explained this earlier, but remember when we're doing inverse? Inverse, you can also write as f negative 1x. That's how
Oh,
you-
okay.
And that's really what our answer should have been right here. My bad. I should have changed this to f negative 1x, f negative 1x. Those are the inverses. Okay. It's because I haven't touched my coffee this morning. So I'm still kind of tired. But anyways, see what? I know that's why I'm taking it slow. All right, so let's try this again. So we have f negative 1 right here. So Brian, what's it mean?
You gotta switch them.
Yeah, you gotta switch them. It's the inverse. Awesome. Inverse. Switch x and y. So we have our equation right here. So we have y equals square root x minus 5. If I switch the x and y, Jordan, what's my new equation? Uh-huh. So how would I write it? Square root. Okay. Like that. I want you to make sure you're carrying that home all the way through, okay? If it is in the home already, you want it to stay in the home. That was a trick question. So if the y minus 5 is inside the square root symbol, you want to keep it all inside so it doesn't mess you up in the later run. Because once we start doing more equations like that, it's going to get difficult and you want to like be able to do that. But anyways, so we're going to draw our line. Oh, I got the eraser. Whoop. All right, so how do you get rid of this square root symbol, Jordan? Uh-huh. The squared? Yeah, that the thingamajig is a squared, yes. All right. So you want to square this side, and I only square one side, right? Only one side?
No, both sides.
Both sides. Very good. Anything you do one side, you have to do the other. Very well said, Jordan. So we square this side. This side right here goes away. This side stays the same. So you have x squared equals y minus 5. Now I want to get that y by itself. Brian, what's my next step?
You gotta add 5 on both sides.
Add 5 on both sides. Very good. Add 5, add 5. This goes to 0. So you have y equals x squared plus 5. So I'm going to take it over here to write my final equation. Y equals x squared plus 5. Now, I'm going to do what I was supposed to do in the last one. What am I going to switch this y to? What am I going to write? It's what I was supposed to do last time, but I kind of forgot. What am I going to replace that y for? Does anyone know? It starts with an F. It's in the question. The f of x, but what is important about the f of x I want to put here? Am I just going to put f of x like this? There's one thing missing from that f of x. Look, the negative 1. When we're writing the final answer, we want to put that f negative 1x equals x squared plus 5. Because this right here means the inverse. So we found the inverse. And this is my answer. All right. Same kind of steps every time. We flip the x and y and we solve for it. We put f negative 1x, our answer. So let's try the next one. Ooh, this one looks fun. All right. If f of x equals negative 3 minus 4x, what is f negative 1x? So, Jordan, what's the f negative 1x mean? Inverse. Very good. Inverse. So Brian, what am I gonna, I'm gonna put y equals -3 minus 4x. What am I gonna do to my x and my y?
You gotta switch them.
Gotta switch them. I'm gonna flip them.
Yeah.
So x equals -3 minus 4y. Now I want to solve for my y. Here's my question for you. Am I going to work with the -3 first or the -4? Think about it. This is a hard question. We'd go with the PIMDOS, so what we do first? We do it reverse.
So if it's not, we would go with subtraction.
Uh-huh. But aren't they both negative? Here's what's going to help you. Here's what's going to help you. So look at every problem we've done, or look at this problem we did first. 4y plus 7. What do we get rid of first? We got rid of the 7. The reason we got rid of the 7 first in this scenario was because what's connected to the y? The 4. Anything that's touching the y, you want to leave for last. So right here, what's touching the y? The 4. So we're going to leave that alone for now. We're going to start with the -3. So what's the opposite of -3? Positive 3.
But then you gotta, don't you have to do it on
Well, remember, this is all on one side. That's the right side. You mean the x side? Very good. So this goes to 0. You have x plus 3 equals -4y. So right here, this -4, how am I going to get rid of the -4? Now, before you answer, think about what operation we're doing with the y. Remember, it's x plus 3 equals -4 times y.
so you
You divide 4. Divide 4 or divide -4?
divide it.
-4. Very good. So you have -4, -4. This goes to 1. So we have x plus 3 divided by -4 equals y. So then we're going to go over here. Y equals x plus 3 divided by -4. Now, Brian, what's one thing I have to do to this?
Don't you gotta cross multiply?
Not cross multiply, but what do we do here?
What's it called? Separate.
Very good.
Separate. I mean,
Fraction.
okay.
You got it. I knew what you were thinking. I could hear it in your voice, you know? All right, so when we separate the fraction, this one you have to separate. So this may be an inch choice. It's very rare that they have a negative on the bottom because it's not proper math. You don't ever want a negative on the bottom. But when we separate this one, we have x divided by -4, and then we have 3 divided by -4. So we have y equals, so that negative sign right here, it's going to stay with each fraction. So you're going to have -x divided by 4, then 3 divided by 4 is going to be negative now because you have a positive and a negative. And that makes a negative. So 3 divided by 4. So this would be your answer. We would switch this y to a f -1x. And this would be my super acceptable answer. This one up here, somewhat acceptable, very unsure. If it shows up, then yes, pick it, but you'll probably have to separate the fraction if it's a negative on the bottom, okay? So separate fraction if negative on bottom. So let's try, I think there's only 2 more. All right, 2 more examples. Find the inverse. Y equals 4x squared minus 7. Y equals 4x squared minus 7. So our first step is, it says find the inverse. So we're going to flop the x and y. We have x equals 4y squared minus 7. So,
You always have to leave the while on there.
uh-huh.
So we're gonna start with -7.
Very good, Jordan. That was great. Brian, did you hear Jordan?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, awesome. So you have x plus 7 equals 4y squared. And remember, Jordan just said this. Since we have to leave the y alone until the end, we want to get rid of the negative 7 first. So now I have x plus 7. Do what? Very good, kid. Now we're going to get rid of this 4, and what's going to be divide by 4 on both sides. This goes to 1. We have x plus 7 divided by 4 equals y squared. Now, Brian, how do I get rid of this little bitty 2? Brian?
Now, I don't know.
Yeah, you do. What's the opposite of square?
Oh, square root.
Very good. See, you did know. We're going to square root on one side, right? Just one side, Brian?
Yeah, one side.
Just one side?
No, both sides.
Both sides. Anything you do to one side, you do the other. So remember, this goes away. You have y equals square root x plus 7 divided by 4. And see how all of that is inside the square root symbol? It's all right? So now we're going to go over here. And we're going to write our final answer. We have y equals square root x plus 7 divided by 4. Is this an acceptable answer? Is this a good answer? Maybe the better question is, can we have another answer? Yes, no, maybe so. I don't know. Brian, what do we always want to do to a fraction just in case?
Separate the fraction.
Separate the fraction. So yes, this was an acceptable answer, but I want to separate the fraction as well. So I have f negative 1x equals square root of, if I'm separating the fraction, I have x over 4, then I have 7 over 4, plus 7 over 4. So both of these are acceptable answers. All right, both of these are acceptable answers. They're great, both. Wow, awesome. Okay. So 7 divided by 4. No, that's it. Fine. All right, so then those are good. Oh, let me separate the fraction. For another possible answer choice. All right, so then we get into find the inverse of the function. F of x equals x plus 7 divided by 3. We have y equals x plus 7 divided by 3. Jordan, when we're finding the inverse, what do we want to do to the x and y? Yeah, we got to flip them. X equals y plus 7 divided by 3. Draw our line down the middle. All right, so this one is different.
It's kind of like the butterfly method, except
Yeah, just like the butterfly method, but just one thing. So we want to get rid of this bottom part first. We want to get rid of that bottom part first. And we're dividing by 3. So what's the opposite of dividing by 3, Brian?
Yeah.
What's the opposite of dividing by 3?
Oh, you got I don't know.
Right. So we're dividing, right? What's the opposite of dividing?
I'll multiply them.
So what's the opposite of dividing 3?
Multiply. Multiply.
Yeah, very good. So we got times 3 times 3. So this goes away. So you have 3x equals y plus 7. So Jordan, what's my next step, kiddo? We do work on the 7 now. Very good. Subtract 7 from both sides. So this goes to 0. So you have 3x minus 7 equals y. Hey, Yobani. So we're going to take our final answer over here. We're going to do y equals 3x minus 7. So we have f negative 1 x equals 3x minus 7. And y'all remember there's a way to check your answers, right? No, y'all forgot there was a way to check your answers, right? Y'all forgot. I'm going to show y'all. It's fine. So when you go to check your answers, what you want to do is you'll want to open up Desmos and you'll graph this one and then you'll graph this one. All right, that's all you do. So you have y equals 7 or x plus 7 divided by 3. And that gives us this line, the red line. Okay. So if we look at the points, we'll look at them in just a minute. Then we have our next one. So we have y equals 3x minus 7. Okay. So let's grab some of the points from the red line. We have, I don't know why it won't let me grab points. -1, 2. We have -1, 2 for our first one. So yeah, x, y, -1, 2. Then we have, let's look for another whole point. We have 2, 3, 2, 3. And then we have, no, that's not whole. Then we have 8, 5. 8, 5. So when we look at this table, all we want to do is flip the x and the y, correct? Yeah. So Jordan, what's my first new point? If I just flip this one, what is it? Remember when we did the tables a while back and we just flipped the points?
Instead of the x being -2, right?
Uh-huh. Very good. So then, Brian, what's my next point if I flip this one?
3, 2.
3, 2. Yeah, Bonnie, what's my next point if I flip this one? You can put it in the chat if you want, kiddo. Yo, Bonnie. Yo, Bonnie. You there, kiddo? I don't think you're there. All right, I'm gonna help you out. It's gonna be 5, 8. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna check that these points right here land on the blue line. So parentheses 2, comma, -1, parentheses. Is that point on the blue line? This point right there, the green point, did it fall on top of the blue line? Yes, no, maybe so. Y'all see what I'm looking at? Yeah, no, no, yeah. You see it, Brian? You see it, Jordan? All right. So then we're gonna check our second point. So this one falls on top. Good. We're gonna do 3, comma, 2. All right, so see how it's on the line 2? That's good. Now we're gonna check our last point. 5, comma, 8. And do you see how all those points lie on the blue line? So is it the inverse? Are they inverses of each other? Did we do our math correctly? Did we get it right?
They fell on the same line, so.
They fell on those same lines. So we did our work perfect. We got it right. We have 100%. We're super smart. Amazing. All right, so this is how you check your work. Perfect. So now let's go to the Google Classroom. You have 1B Google Classroom right here. So you want to go to links for everything you need. And I'm about to update the notes right now. So then if you go to 1B Algebra 2, semester 2, we're going to work on the yellow today, 4-6. That's today, right? 4-6? Yes. And you have the Ed puzzle. I think y'all already all watched it. Google form is right there. We're doing the same Google form. We're going to give y'all another chance on it. Make sure you're writing your notes down on a paper so you can work it out actually by hand, not just think, oh, what am I doing? Let me think about the steps in my head. No, do it on paper. We did every question on paper. On this question, let me take a picture so I can explain it. Don't let this confuse you, okay? Don't let this part confuse you. All you're looking at is the x squared plus 3, okay? That's it. Don't let that x bigger than 0 confuse you. You're just looking at the actual part right here. This. So cross that off if you need help thinking about that. That is what you're looking at. Then you want to solve. Remember right here, look at all the answer choices. What did they do to their final answer? So look at all the answer choices. What are these? They're fractions. So they would have split their final answer choice, okay? They would have split it. Remember, if you use your notes, they're pretty much same examples, different numbers, but you know, just so you know, so use your notes. All right, same thing here. We did one exact, like super similar to this question. Like, I mean, whoa, super similar. Same thing here. I think we did something super similar to this one. Whoa, something super similar to this one too. Wow. And remember, if you get a fraction, make sure you do the math. Like, oh, let me show you an example actually. All right. So say, oh my gosh. All right, so say you got a fraction that was like, say this is your final answer. Say like in theory, this was your final answer. Y equals x plus 6 divided by 2. Say this was your final answer, and we want to split this fraction, okay? We want to split this fraction. So we're going to split it this way and this way. We have y equals x divided by 2 plus 6 divided by 2. Can I simplify this part? Can I simplify it? What is 6 divided by 2? Does anyone know off the top of your head? Yes, no, maybe so. Brian, do you know what 6 divided by 2 is?
3.
Oh yeah, it's 3. Great job. Woo! All right, so you have y equals x over 2 plus 3. That would be your final answer. You would have simplified this to 3. Does that make sense? Yeah? All right, so make sure you're paying attention to that too. So now we're done with the notes. Now we're officially done with the notes. I will update them to the Google Drive. Any questions over the Google document or the Google form? Yes, no, maybe so. Y'all think y'all can get 100 on it? Yeah, let's make sure we're gonna make 100. Man, you can make 100, I know it. All right, so Brian, Jordan, Giovanni, I want y'all to do the Google form. Giovanni, I'm about to post the video. You can go back and watch the class if you would like. Or you can ask me questions through this time, but you can share your screen. But I'm gonna stop recording now.